Oh, that's nice. I did see this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's raged about drag queens for months, is defending her boyfriend over an old video of him donning drag in Dallas.
But I may keep the pantyhose on. It does feel kind of good, actually.
So yeah, and a close one to MTG has is she not married? She got divorced after like f***ing her fitness consultant or whatever. Posted the video on Sunday, showed Glenn dressed like an old Caucasian woman, complete with fluffy blonde wig and white. Uh-huh.
Come and check it out. I can tell you, I think a lot of people are up now. They're all hashtag I am up. Of course, come and check it out here. Starts on Saturday. I'm kicking these shoes off, but I may keep the pantyhose on. It does feel kind of good, actually. I'm not going to pee in them, I promise. Send it back to the studio.
So I actually like this a lot because, okay, to be clear, when I say I like this, what I don't mean is that I like the fit. I don't like the fit at all. Not good. Not serving fish. However, with regards to this like dynamic, I've said this over and over and over again. Okay, let me take you guys back a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a history lesson, okay? Did you know that totalitarian governments are sometimes kind of crap places to live? I normally talk about the Nazis. Let's talk about the Soviets for a second, all right? The Soviet Union was, let's say, somewhat legally restrictive, especially when it came to speech, political engagement, dissidents, that kind of stuff. Now, the thing about the Soviet Union is that it is infamously legalistic and bureaucratic. Like, the Soviets kept documents and everything. People say, like, you know that old narrative about, like, oh, the Nazis did horrible stuff with their medical experiments and such, but at least we got info from it? No, we didn't. First of all, that's because the medical experiments they were performing were like, what if you took conjoined twins, spun them around really fast, and lit them on fire? Would this create, like, an ambrosia to cure aging? Second of all, they never wrote anything down. So, like, on every level, this isn't science. They were just f***ing around, basically. Now, the Soviets, well, they did their own messed up stuff, but they did at least write stuff down. Famously legalistic and bureaucratic. So I ask you, in a society where there are incredibly strict legal rules and guidelines when it comes to political speech and everything adjacent to it, how do dissidents get arrested? If you take a look at some of those old laws, it seems like they're so wide-reaching that basically everyone could get arrested, Like laws against attacks on, the premier or against the Soviet Union. Well, what does that mean? Like a light complaint? The truth is, there's actually a very deliberate purpose to ambiguous laws. And the purpose is that when the people in power have a legally ambiguous pretext for arresting you, they can do it at their behest. This is why wide-reaching and ambiguous laws are so common when you see all these crazy anti-trans laws the Republicans put forward. It's because they know, and they're aware of this, by the way, they know that if you have ultra-specific, highly defined guidelines when it comes to minority persecution, they're A, pretty easy to get around, and B, they're not going to cover what you want them to cover. When you define things that specifically, you're going to realize, like, hey, any instance of gender incongruent clothing. Well, what do you mean by that? A fedora used to be a woman's hat. I mean, how do you? No, the purpose of the ambiguity is because when you know that the courts and the cops are on your side, they will simply interpret the ambiguity against you. You understand? And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, oh yeah, well, when we talk about banning drag in public, we don't mean stuff like this. Why not? What? This is unambiguous. This is very clearly what do you mean? Why not this, Well, the reason why not this is because this person, this guy, isn't queer. He's dressing up like a woman is a joke, the same way lots of people do. He's not wearing a dress or a wig or whatever as part of some actual statement about his identity. It's just a bit. And in reality, Republicans don't actually, care about people dressing up as women for a bit, like that Trump Rudy Giuliani thing. You can Google that if you want. They don't care about that. What they care about is killing gay people and trans people and so on. And they know that they can't just have a law saying if you're gay or trans, you get arrested. Not yet, at least. But they can have law. Well, technically, these are unconstitutional too. But, you know, at the moment, they're going with laws that are like, actually, any gender incongruence in public is the same as being a stripper. It's like being nude in public, and it'll be treated the same. Knowing fully well that no cop would arrest this guy, but would arrest, you know, a visibly trans person in a queer district of the city. You understand? She's basically giving the game away. Like, it's exactly like how when legal racism was no longer legal after the Civil Rights Act, you could no longer have a bill saying like, or you can't be a business and just say, yeah, we don't let in black people, but you can't be a bank and say, no, we don't loan to black people. But now the Civil Rights Act has passed. How do you maintain legal racism? Well, it's simple. Just do legal classism, and you just end up hitting some of the worst white people along with most black people, because black people are really poor because they were literally slaves pretty recently. Yeah, zip codes, credit scores. Oh, we can't redline, but all these neighborhoods that just coincidentally happen to be majority black because of policies that we were following up until 5 minutes ago, we have very specific issues with these zip codes, you know? You know, oh yeah, we're black people. We don't have an issue with black people. It's just this the wearing your pants down by your knees, and you know, the rap music and the zippity bop. Oh, you can't do that anymore now that Cosby's a rapist, right? We used to have a lot of fun. If you're young, you won't remember, but people would just like do references to Bill Cosby before he was found to be a rapist. Those were the times when we were like naive, and you know, it was annoying. Oh, it was incredibly annoying. But I am annoying, so I'm kind of keeping with my theme here. Those were the days. Yeah. So if all the trans people just say, lol, it's all just a joke, bro, that everything will be fine, right? Well, no. Because the cops will know that it's not a joke. That's the thing. The whole thing is a pretext, a legally ambiguous smokescreen that they use to give them, if they want, the excuse to arrest the people they don't like and not arrest the people they do like. I think it's nice when their hypocrisy is shown this obviously, because it's another little bit of ammunition, you know, that we can keep in the pocket. You know, oh well, if you care so much about drag, then don't you think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a groomer for permitting her boyfriend, for defending her boyfriend doing this? Isn't this going to cause gender confusion? Isn't this going to? Oh, could young boys have not looked at this and gone, wow, what? And been confused about gender? And of course, the blubbering, stupid, low IQ, half-wit answer you would get from the degenerates who unironically like Marjorie Taylor Greene would be something along the lines of, well, it's not like that. That's different. Well, what's different about it? Well, he's not trans. It's a joke. He's not actually one of the degenerates. You see? That's what you get out of them. Well, they might just stop talking. Nice. Good run-up. In your opinion, is the U.S. authoritarian? Some states are. I think it would be fair to say at this point that Florida is basically just a fascist state. I don't say like, oh, their leaders are fascist. I mean, Florida, the state, is a fascist state. I don't think you could ever like, I don't think there's any reason at all to assume like a pretext of fair elections are there at this point. Not to mention the whole like open, like censor all talk of gay and trans people, like we'll take your children from you, like leaving aside all of that. That like things are so far gone there that I don't think you could reasonably call that like a liberal democracy. That's ridiculous. They're at the front lines of it. Other states will probably follow. We're definitely seeing the consequences of like the federalization of the United States. Can the DeSantis immigration laws be reversed? Everything can be undone. They are illiberal democracies akin to Poland and Hungary. I feel like a better example would be no, actually. Maybe Hungary would be fine. I mean, the critical thing to say is like the apparatus for election making in Florida is still ostensibly democratic, but I don't know how much I can trust results in there. Like at this point, I don't know. Actually, it's kind of difficult to say. It's like, would saying it's a fascist state be real? I don't know. I would have to think about it. It's difficult to say because there are some like artifices of democracy that are protected by our federal government, at least for the moment. Is Orban a dictator? Well, I would say so for sure. Yeah. It's authoritarian for sure. Yeah. You have lots of links today, Sandman.